Rowan Atkinson. Everyone knows him as Mr. Bean or Johnny English, but he is a massive petrol head and he has a pretty spectacular collection of cars. So we're going to go over that right now. We're going to kick things off with a pretty special project, actually, a Rolls-Royce Phantom Coupe. But not any Rolls-Royce Phantom Coupe, this is actually the one that was used in the second Johnny English film. So the story goes that Rowan Atkinson thought that the whole Aston Martin thing had been done and redone through James Bond, and also in the first Johnny English, they used an Aston Martin DB7. So he wanted something different, and having had a Rolls-Royce in his garage, a Rolls-Royce sedan, the 5-door, with which he'd done about 80,000 miles, he was a huge fan of the Rolls-Royce Phantom. So, naturally, decided, let's put this in the next Johnny English film. But I don't want it to just be any old Rolls-Royce Phantom. I want it to have something really special. So he'd heard of these 4 or 5 9-litre V16 engines that had been developed as prototypes for the Phantom. Obviously weren't the last final production engine that went into the car, because those were W12s. But Rowan Atkinson, came up to Rolls-Royce, said, listen, got this idea, want your car in my film, how about we pop one of those V16s that you've got hidden away somewhere in? They, actually rather surprisingly, said, yes, no problem, go ahead, use it in the film. So that is the final car that ended up in the film. It's a Rolls-Royce Phantom Coupe, which are already rare enough in their own right, with a 9-litre V16 stuck in it. And apparently, Rowan still has this in his personal collection. Whilst we're on the luxury car theme, Bentley Mulsanne Birkin. So this is a special edition Bentley Mulsanne, which is in honor of one of the Bentley boys. So there were these 3 Bentley boys, they called themselves. I don't know if they called themselves or if that's what they were called afterwards, but anyways, they're known as the Bentley boys. They used to race together. One of them was Henry Tim Birkin, 2-time Le Mans winner, just a legend of the Bentley kind of history, because he was the person that advised Bentley to use superchargers. That ended up being a really successful move in both racing and in road cars for Bentley. And in 2014, Bentley Mulsanne, so Mulsanne, obviously the name is in honor of the straight line at the Le Mans circuit. They wanted to do a special edition in honor of Mr. Birkin. So 2014, they came out this special edition Bentley Mulsanne. But the really cool thing about this is in 1995, there was a film that came out called Full Throttle, in which Mr. Birkin had a role. Well, he was part of the story of the film that came out in 1995. And you want to know who played him? You guessed it. Rowan Atkinson. So naturally, he's got one of these Bentley Mulsanne Birkins in his collection. Pretty cool. Now we are going to go over to Italy. Lancia Tima. Very specific car, 1989. Not the prettiest of all Lancias. They made some pretty fantastic looking cars, but very rare. Only 20 in the UK. Rowan Atkinson had one. He since sold it at auction, but he's still got a Lancia. He's got an Integrale, one of the most legendary rally cars of all time. Very expensive when it came out, held its value even better than that, so even more expensive today. Fantastic car. And just when I was doing this research about Rowan Atkinson, there were all these articles in which he said, I'm not a collector, I'm not a car collector, I don't want to be associated to being a car collector, because to me, that means people that will just stuff their cars away, not drive them, which is not at all what he wants to do. He wants to actually have cars which are good to drive and use them and abuse them. So a Lancia of this type seems like a pretty perfect car for someone who's going to do that, and I think it's fantastic that he actually does use it, because that on a country road or for any rallying is one of the all-time greats. So I know what some of you will be thinking, Porsche fans. Well, if he loves cars to drive and he doesn't want to stock them away, some of the best are Porsches. Well, absolutely, you're right. Rowan's even said this himself. Porsche make fantastic cars. However, he has never and will never have a Porsche in his collection. Why? Because he doesn't like Porsche owners. So I'm out of here. Thank you very much. Cheers. See you soon. Bye-bye. No, but apparently he doesn't like the mentality of Porsche owners. To be honest, I can completely see. So yeah, he says he will never have a Porsche for that reason. He doesn't want to be associated with Porsche owners. Fair enough, fair enough. Not going to say anything. We're going even older now to 1939 with a BMW 328. This is a seriously cool car. Very rare. I'm not sure on exact production numbers. Well, not even production. At this point, you can't even call it production. But basically, BMW race car, effectively, which won at the Mille Miglia, which is a really famous race in Italy. Yeah, legendary race. I'm sure all of you guys know about it. Anyways, this car actually won back then in some questionable political times with some questionable political figures at the wheel. We won't talk about that too much. Anyways, since been completely restored and now sits in Mr. Bean's car collection, which, I mean, just how cool is that? I don't know how he's ended up choosing that car out of all cars that he could have gone for, but yeah, really cool. Basically impossible to estimate how much this would be worth. There's some articles that say it's worth 1.2 million, there's some which will say it's worth $700,000. I don't know, it's probably somewhere around $1 million. It's very, very expensive, basically. 1964 Ford Falcon Sprint. Kind of funny story about this. Apparently crashed at Goodwood, couldn't find any footage of it. Pretty cool car. So Rowan Atkinson supposedly, well, obviously quite enjoys classic car racing, so specifically at Goodwood. So took this car there, probably a perfect car for someone like him. I mean, it's a really nice, probably very expensive car, but for him, he probably doesn't, you know, think there's too much risk to it. So if ever he does have an accident or anything like that, is what it is. And in the meantime, he's gained a bunch of experience and had a good time with this car. So it's probably why he got this car to do some track racing. I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud here, ow. Supposedly ended up actually crashing this car. However, in classic Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean fashion, how are you then going to return from this accident to the Goodwood Motor Circuit? Well, how about on the roof in a throne on a Mini? As you do, dressed up as Mr. Bean, acting as Mr. Bean. This is exactly what he did. I think this is fantastic, one of the greatest clips. As I was doing this research, I found this clip and I was like, I cannot believe this actually happened. And then to top that off, came back in an old Jag another year and ended up getting second place, I believe. Definitely a podium at a race. So how is that for coming back from an accident? Accident, make a scene as Mr. Bean, and then come back and get a podium. Fair play. A couple of Astons, V8 Vantage, and actually a V8 Vantage Zagato, really rare. Honda NSX, not the recent one, the one before that, the one that was actually quite popular because the recent one was a lot less of a success. But yeah, a blue Honda NSX sits in Rowan Atkinson's collection, apparently with like a ton of miles. He's actually driven this thing loads, and I just think it's another car that proves that he's not just going to go kind of buy the latest Ferrari or Porsche, as we've said, or Lamborghini or anything, just because it's the latest, greatest thing. It's actually, which car do I really enjoy driving, has an interesting piece of history, and I'm going to be able to use and get a lot of joy out of, and it's just so cool to see. And of course, I think a lot of you watching this video are probably fully aware that the ultimate iteration of this is Rowan Atkinson's McLaren F1. Such a cool car. He bought this in 1997 when they were around £550,000 new. Probably just got a massive check for the first Mr. Bean movie and decided to go spend that all on a McLaren F1. So he got that car, fantastic, legendary, actually kind of in the same color as the seat I'm on right now, you see? So that's pretty cool. So he got that. However, he was obviously driving it a lot. So cool to see, because a lot of these F1s and cars of that caliber will just sit in the collection. He was out there driving a lot. However, didn't come without its problems. There was 2 accidents in this car, most notably second one, big crash. Car was basically totaled. Ended up being the biggest insurance claim ever in the UK at £910,000 to fix this car, which I think was all sorted by the insurance. Can you imagine the insurer calling the insurer like, yes, sorry, I've had an accident. Is the McLaren F1? Oh, car then back, built up, completely restored back to its kind of original glory, and drove it around for a few more years and ended up selling it not too long ago for £8 million. So yeah, all in all, bought it for under 600,000, kept it for 20 years, crashed it twice, sold it for 8 million. Not bad. Anyways, I'm sure there's others. Oh, I forgot one. I forgot 2. Sorry, completely forgot 2. SLS Gullwing. He's got a red, really cool SLS. So cool. This was, the one with the gullwing doors, naturally aspirated V8. Stunning car. They were like $190,000 when they first came out. Well over that. Fantastic investment, especially in this red color. You really don't see that many of them. So yeah, really cool. Again, quite a random selection of cars that there's a gullwing thrown in there. But actually, clearly quite likes Mercedes, and specifically the 500e, because he's had 3 of them, I believe. 2 silver, one which he sold twice, and a black one. So don't know what his love for that specific model is. He seems to really enjoy it. Probably still has that black one. On top of the SLS Gullwing, obviously got a little bit of a thing for kind of sporty Mercedes. But very cool, very diverse collection, and so awesome to see. I mean, there's videos of him driving his F1 around London, for example, which is just so cool to see. Yeah, just so cool to see someone properly using these cars for what they were intended to, and not just storing them away like an art piece. So yeah, awesome collection. Clearly a real petrol head who knows his cars, loves his cars, and drives his cars. So that's what we really enjoy seeing. It'd been a while since I'd done one of these videos, and to be honest, many YouTube videos at all. So I appreciate kind of the support and the messages I get, saying that you love this series and the videos. It really means a lot to me. So thank you for all the messages you've been sending. I'll be doing more of these hopefully in the near future. Subscribe if you aren't already, thumbs up, and comment down below if you enjoyed it and you want to see more. And I'll see you very soon. Cheers guys, bye-bye.
Lewis still had some curves left over, so I wondered if he planned that the lap before. I'm not going to use all my curves in the two obvious DRS zones.